The Ascendant in Capricorn, this placement is all about structure, value, expertise, discipline, hard work, and boundaries. People with the Ascendant in Capricorn put on this image of strength and pious Grecian Kalaxklada. I don't even know what I'm saying. The Ascendant in Capricorn needs to look at balancing their achievements with the overall value of the thing itself. The overall what they're actually doing and gaining off of what they're doing. Now, in this episode of the Cosmic Sky podcast, I am going to be delving deep into what this placement means in the birth chart. The Ascendant, remember, is the point that rises on the eastern horizon when you were born. It is the point that represents your body type, represents the first thing that people see of you when they get to know you. It represents the first impressions. It represents your soul's calling and what you're naturally leaning into. Because in esoteric astrology, the Ascendant represents the soul. And the Ascendant is more natural than the Sun when it comes to receptivity of new information. I find that whenever I'm listening to my sun sign in my astrology horoscopes, that I struggle with hearing things and taking in information and receiving the information to be able to grow and evolve from that information. And, the Ascendant is an easy point, an easy place for your soul to sort of move into in a way. And, there's a lot of good things I can say about it. So let's delve in. I know that my dad has the Ascendant in Capricorn, so his Saturn is in Pisces. So Saturn, which rules Capricorn, is his chart ruler. So Saturn in Pisces plays a huge part in his life. Also Chiron in Pisces. And with Saturn in Pisces and Chiron in Pisces, my dad does not really subscribe to God, religion, a higher power, very atheist in his views of things, believes in the power of people power, the power of the good human, really, it's just transcending spirituality. It's just transcending the whole spiritual thing of higher power and all that to say that you are the co-creator of your reality and it's up to you. But no, you are the co-creator and you have a connection with a higher power. That is my belief. That's your belief. This is my belief that you are, connected to the divine and you co-create your life with the divine. And you actively are a participant in your life with divine support. And that God does orchestrate things on earth. You could say that God has nothing to do with earthly matter. Both and he is detached general earth dealings, but a lot of it is human-made as well. So it is both and here. But really, what I mean to say here is, and I mean this very, very well, is, my dad being a Sagittarius South Node, I have my beliefs. These are my beliefs. The Gemini North Node, well, I'm opening up to other beliefs, and I'm questioning my beliefs. I'm questioning the things that I got indoctrinated in. I'm opening up my mind. I'm collaborating. I'm networking. So there's all these different dynamics to this person's chart. And his moon sign is in Aquarius, so that's also ruled by Saturn. So, Aquarius moon, Capricorn rising, both Saturn ruled. So, now let's delve into the traits of this placement. Now, Capricorn is known to be old when they are young, kind of thing. They're known to have this image of old grandiosity, this image of flat posting, This image of, I've got to be the one in charge. I've got to be the one leading the men. I've got to be the most mature, the most agile, the most verdurous, most wise person that I can be. And with Capricorn Ascendant, you are generally old in a sense. Very, very, very old, very, very wise, very, very, intelligent, very, very wise beyond your years, very, deeply mature. And, in a sense, with all that you've learned, all that you understand about your life. Knowing how to carry the weight of responsibility, carrying the weight of burdens, and getting tasks done, and achieving, and accomplishing, and putting one in front of the other. Because remember, Capricorn is the mountain goat, and Capricorn tends to put one foot in front of the other, and work so hard to get to the top of the mountain. Capricorn is about high achievement. It is about putting your nose to the grindstone. It is about focusing on your energy and your will to be able to achieve something great for the collective. Because remember, Capricorn is one of the last 3 zodiac signs, and the last 3 signs are the collective signs. It's the personal, the interpersonal, whatever order that they go in, and then the collective. And so, really, the whole summer season, for instance, is the child moving through adolescence. You have the Cancer, which is the 9-10-year-old child, the Leo, which is the teenager. The 9-year and 10-year-old child is very knowledgeable about family, emotions, sensitivity, really feels, really wants to care for and nurture everyone in the family. The teenager wants to express, take risks, have all the attention on them, have fun, express their joy. Very egoic. Teenagers are generally very egoic. And then Virgo, which is the young adult. I'm self-critical. I'm accountable. I'm taking care of the little details of my life as I'm growing into adulthood, as I'm becoming my adult self, as I'm blossoming into who I can be as an adult. That's really, Virgo energy is that growth and that transcendence into adulthood, into into that stage of your life when you are an adult, when you have details to take care of, when you have your house, you have your daily routines to take care of. So you think about all the kind of things, and Capricorn is one of the top collective signs, which is about maturity and higher level understanding, higher level beingness, higher level affirmation of your authority in your life. So let's discuss the traits. So old when they're young, they understand structure and order deeply well, and they really get it. So, for something to really stick to them, for something to really or last a long period of time, just like a building. I keep saying this over and over again with Capricorn. It's like, you don't build a building for just a day or a week. You build it for years or decades even. But for a building to last, it must be done with consistent, patient effort. You must be patient and willing to put one foot in front of the other and work until you eventually get that thing built, get that thing achieved. Until you eventually get there. So for something to really last a long period of time, for something to be truly sustainable for the long term, you have to put the effort into it. You have to be patient for that thing to be built. You have to be willing to wait it out, test it over and over again, breast it in the factories. You must put in patient effort. You must put one foot in front of the other and wait it out. Be patient with it. Be patient with it. And don't rush the process, because it's going to take all the time it's going to take. As long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other and putting a disciplined effort into what you're building, you'll eventually achieve it. You'll eventually reach your goal. And that's what we have to keep in mind with this. Now, people with Capricorn Ascendant are builders. They build things in their life very significantly. They want to build structures. They want to build, buildings, not only buildings, but whatever else that they're trying to build, because the phrase for Capricorn is I build. And maybe you're building something that isn't always sustainable. But know that the process is not going to be perfect. There is going to be some doubts, some struggles along the way to building that thing that you want to build. But you will eventually get there and build that thing, even though you suffer through challenges and obstacles and struggles. You'll eventually get there. At the end of the day, when you work so hard and achieve this thing, you will eventually reach the top of the building, and you'll eventually complete your project. You just have to trust that if you are patient and consistent, it will pay off. You build what is significant to you. You build what matters to you. You build what you truly value in your life. It's about how you engage with what goes on in your life. How you engage with that. Really, really easily. It's about how the Ascendant is, engagement. And Capricorn is engagement with life, in a way. So, you walk with composure. You walk with keeping yourself together. Keeping yourself flat. Keeping yourself stable and structured. And with posture. With the ability to really, really walk in good standing. With the ability to really, really walk very, very strongly, very, very sturdily, in a sturdy way, very steadily. You just sort of walk with this discipline. You have your stuff together. You have your life together. You know what you're doing. And you walk like, oh, this person knows what they were doing. And you walk with authority. That's also the other thing I wanted to say about you. Now, as a Capricorn Ascendant, you want to be taken seriously. My dad has always been somebody who really, really cares about his image, about how he looks, about how he comes across. And in times of a problem needing to be solved, in times of an issue needing to be resolved, people go to you in difficult situations. People go to you when the going gets tough. People go to you when everything is very, very challenging and monotonous, for them to really, really see you as you are and be able to get help from you, be able to get support in all those kind of ways. with the challenging stuff that comes up in life, the tough, difficult struggles that come up. You can really help people work through those struggles on a practical, logical, pragmatic level, and you can really help people work out the struggles in a really earthy way. Now, you want to become the master of a craft or skill. This is, Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy wants to master whatever it is doing. It wants to be the best higher up at whatever it does. And so any kind of thing when it comes to structure, like you set structures, you are master structure setters. You want to set a very strong structure for your life. You want to build that structure. You want to create that structure for how you want to live your life. And you stick to the structure, you stick to the plan, you want to stick to the routine. Structure and order are really big themes for you in your life. Disciplined life, disciplined mind, disciplined heart. So, accomplishment. You're very big on accomplishment. Like, what's the point of saying something if you're not going to deliver on it? What's the point of saying it and not doing it? Not making it pan out. Not making it happen in your life. In the material 3D world. Now, you deeply consider the consequences of your actions. You know that every action has consequences. You know that every action has repercussions, and you reap what you sow. So you're very careful, and you're very wise, and very self-knowledgeable about what choices that you make, because you know if they will have a positive impact or a negative impact, a positive consequence or a negative consequence. It doesn't take a Capricorn rising person to know that just saying the N-word in a podcast would result in a very negative consequence. It doesn't take a Capricorn rising to know that would deeply offend people, and that would prove how racially unjust you are. You know that whatever you do, whatever you decide, whatever action you take, that has consequences. So you want to focus on your karma. You want to focus on what is for the highest good of all. You want to focus on what is at the highest level of what you can achieve. And you're very cautious about your decisions. You're very cautious about your mind, about your choices and the impact that your choices will have on others and on society and on your own self and your own well-being. You take all those things into account. You think about the karmic, cause and effect. What you do, what you put in, you get out. And so you all think about that karma, and you really want to reap good, positive karma in your life. Now, you may be very deeply guarded, very, just private about things, keeping a lot of things in, not exposing a whole lot of things. This person's very, distant, in a sense. I perceive my dad as just being very distant. Very, insubstantially unconnected to me. And it's been very difficult. Our relationship hasn't been the most connected, the most warm, the most nurturing, the most emotionally trusting I haven't felt like I could just easily go to him with trust. There's always going to be, oh, do this, oh, do that. I have this solution, I have that solution. And, oh, you're overreacting, be rational, be, whatever. That's not what I need. I just need sympathy. I just need compassion. I just need you to listen to me, and I need to have somebody to talk to, and I need the warmth and loving support that I don't feel that I have from you now. And that is deeply important in relationships. And I want to make sure that if I become a parent to my children, I provide that loving, nurturing support to my children. I want to be there for them. I want to be available for them, not just in body, in bone, in flesh, on the material level, but I want to be there for them on a level of soul and emotionality and connection. I want to be there. Like, I deeply care. I do not want to relive and repel my children like I repel my dad and he repels me practically. So we have a very, very detached relationship. And you may have a lot of boundaries built up. You may appear as deeply distant or disconnected or not connected. You may appear like, oh, I'm talking or I'm being from afar, but I'm not really connected in a very, very deep, loving, close, emotional way. Now, you command and you expect a lot of respect. You expect respect. You expect respect. You expect respect. I don't know what that is. Okay. But no, you do. Because you have a high position of power. You think of yourself very, very highly. You want to be a really, really powerful person in society, a really, really prominent, very, very important, CEO of a company, for instance. You want to be, a big name, make a big, name. And interestingly, Capricorn rising, Neptune in the 10th house, Neptune on the midheaven in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces. Think about that. Think about what that could mean for a person. On one level, you're very, very deeply intuitive and spiritual, and you want to be very, connected, but you're also feeling isolated, you're feeling disconnected, you're feeling like you can't openly connect, and there's not that flowing connection between you and the other, and you and the whole world of consciousness. You don't feel that way as much. And you also don't feel that you're seen and recognized for the things that you do misunderstood in career. And also, you're highly important and you want to be someone that's known. And yet you cannot find enough structure in order to be able to carry that out. Imagine that. Imagine that, that way of being, So, you command a lot of attention. You want a lot of respect and recognition. And you want people to respect you and go to you and see you for who you are and recognize you for the important person that you are. And for the prominent person that you truly are. Capricorn. You want people to recognize you and give you the acknowledgement and give you the recognition for being who you are, really. So, another thing is, you lead with integrity. You lead with integrity, and you have a strong moral compass for where you're going in life. You lead with good principles. You lead with authenticity. You lead with truth. You believe in integrity. You believe in morality, and you want to do the right thing. You want to do good. You want to put yourself, you really care about your image and who you come across, and you really want to put yourself as a serious, dedicated person who is committed to their work, dedicated to their work, who is driven to being the best possible, driven to achieving the best means possible, the best kind of thing possible to achieve. You want to achieve all that you can that is the best, that is the most prominent, that is most famous, that is the most higher up of anything that you could achieve. Now, you aren't afraid of hard truths. You sort of like it when others are honest and transparent and just tell you how it is, and, in a tactful way, of course, but you really, really like honesty and integrity and genuine connection. Well, think about that, genuine connection. I didn't receive that, and I don't feel that I have that with my dad. So, you aren't afraid of what is difficult in terms of the truth being hard to hear. You're not afraid of listening in on and speaking that hard truth and letting others know about it for what they need to know to become better, to work harder, to climb up the mountain, to achieve, to put one foot in front of the other, to be disciplined, to be pragmatic, And then how can you focus on the journey, not just the destination? How can you focus on where you're going and who you become in the process, as opposed to who you are at the end of the day when you get all your things achieved, when you get all the the material things checked off your list, when you get all the things checked off your list, when you earn the gold, when you achieve whatever you want to achieve and whatever you set out to achieve. How can you focus on the becoming, the process, not just the price of the end, but how you evolve through that achievement is just as important as the achievement itself. And that's what we have to remember. Is this feeling of like I haven't done enough. There's also this fear of failure that you have, like you're not enough. You're not worthy enough to be yourself, to be be who you are. That that you have not achieved enough yet in your lifetime. You're not there enough. That you didn't do the right thing. That you didn't do the wise thing. And how are you going about your life in this kind of way, where you haven't felt like you have achieved enough, you have climbed up enough mountains, you have worked so hard. Where have you not felt like you measure up to yourself, that you have these really, really high expectations for yourself and you don't fulfill them, you don't win them over, you don't fulfill these expectations that you set out for yourself to fulfill. And so where have you felt like you're just not there yet? You're just not where you need to be. That kind of thing. It's very, very important to relax, to just rest everything. You have to rest your body, to rest your muscles, to rest your well-being, and to not work so hard. Life is not about working and doing and producing and achieving and striving always for becoming better, improving, working. So, it's not about, oh, I'm just working, and I'm not there enough, and so I'm trying to achieve something higher. I'm trying to work so hard and climb up the mountain. I'm trying to exercise or have my weight routine or have my, my life routine out or have my disciplined way of being, my structure, my plan for my life. It's not always like that. It can be where you're not working so hard and you're not always constantly working and doing all this, but you are enjoying what you have already created, enjoying what you've already done in your life thus far, resting on your laurels, but not resting on your laurels. It's okay to rest on your laurels once in a while, where you can just stop working and producing and stop constantly having to keep up so that you keep up the muscle that you have so that you don't lose the strength in that muscle. Oh my goodness, if I just rest for a time, then I'm going to lose the strength in that muscle. No. You have time in your life and you can work that muscle over time throughout your whole life. It's not just a thing to be able to do at this point in time. So you are enjoying what's already been created, enjoying what's already been made for you in your life. With what you've already created, with what you've already worked so hard to achieve, you can create it. You can really make it happen for yourself. Your value isn't just defined by what you achieve, your accomplishments alone, your material accomplishments, what you strive out to achieve, what you work so hard to achieve, but it's inherent. It's not based off of the money you make or the accomplishments that you have or the projects that you complete or the milestones you make on any particular avenue of your life. It is based off of who you are inherently, regardless of any of that. It's just your natural state of being, your true self. It doesn't have to feel worthy through achievement or accomplishment. It just feel worthy as it is. Right here and right now. Feeling worthy for who I am right here and right now. And that is really, really important to remember, is to know that you are worthy as you are, without having to prove yourself, without trying to earn something. That doesn't have to be, that your worth and your value doesn't have to be earned. You are worthy just as you are. The beautiful person that you are enough. This person also has a stellium in Virgo, Pluto, Uranus, I do believe, and Venus. You are enough. You are enough. You do not have to continue working so hard and striving so hard and continue to, improve and fix and do all these things with, having control over the earthly realm, with being practical and being this and being grounded and this and that, where you are worthy of being practical and grounded, but not where you have to sacrifice yourself, not where you have to be a martyr to others and totally give over your power toward others. But you know that you are enough as you are, regardless of all that stuff going on. Now, you're deeply competent. You know what you're doing. You have the skill set with whatever you achieve in your life. You set long-term goals, and you work steadily towards these long-term goals. That's what you achieve to do. is Capricorn is about the long-term goal. What is in it for the long term? How can I, sort of not enjoy it right now in the moment so that I can work for something that can have long-term gain? That it may not feel good in the moment, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. So that's Capricorn energy, where you can set these goals and be able to achieve them very, very slowly and steadfast. Like, we can understand that success, true success, is earned through things that you achieve over time. And that is really the truth of it. Success isn't an overnight thing. It isn't an instant thing just like that. It is something that you work for over a long period of time, over that whole span of time that you're living in your life, that it is something that you can achieve over that time. And it is something that you work at as time goes on, and you do very, very steadily and readily, and not casually, not lightly, but you take it really, really seriously. You take life very, very seriously. You go to your job in the morning as you wake up, and you go and you show up and you do the work and you commit to it the whole day through. You come home fulfilled because you know that you're working for something that is aligned with your soul. Making sure that the work that you're doing is aligned with your soul and that feels right to you, and that truly brings you joy and happiness, Capricorn rising. You come home and you enjoy the work that you're doing. And it feels fulfilling, like you can go back to the job every single day and it feels worth it to you. It feels worth doing and pursuing and continuing to achieve that work, continuing to achieve that goal. Where success comes through consistent, patient effort of you continually, like, my dad also practices piano. Like, he steadily does this every single day, where in the evening he goes downstairs and practices a piece on the piano and just plays the same piece over and over again. It's almost like it's a broken record, but that's that steady progress to be able to improve something and make it the best it can be through working at something over and over and over again. Because Capricorn and Virgo, you really, really want things to be the best they can be. So there's a lot of lessons that we can gain through Capricorn and Virgo energy. Now, when faced with challenges in your life, you carry this sense of being deeply logical, deeply realistic. You are deeply logical and realistic about what you decide to do in your life when it comes to the challenges that you may be undergoing, the challenges that you may be facing in your life. You may get this, this logical sense of being, with what you're doing, where you are, you are faced with challenges, and you approach it head on. You approach it through a very head in the game, intellectual, practical approach to challenges, and you approach it very, very fairly and squarely, and very, very logically, and really, really practically. Now, you generally value trust and respect in friendships and interactions, and you believe that friendships and interactions are built on kindness. They're built on respect, and they're also that your actions speak louder than your words. That you can say all the stuff That you can say all these things, that you're going to do this differently, or you're going to do this, you're going to say this at this time, or you're going to make this happen over here, you're going to pencilate this over there, you're going to do all this stuff. But what about the actions taken on it? What about you actually, what about you actually embodying this in a kind of way? With your actions. And where you can really say things with a lot of pride, and with a lot of very, what I mean to say here is that respect is really huge in relationships, in the relationships that you're involved in, especially. That what you do matters. What you do has an impact on the other. What you say has an impact on the other. Naturally. If nothing that we did or say has any impact on the other, then we wouldn't be our needs wouldn't be taken care of. We wouldn't get the compliments. We would get the kindness and the acknowledgement and the praise and the the conversation that we have back and forth. I think that you wouldn't want to wish for words not to have any impact on the other. So it's natural that we experience the polarity and the oppositional forces between the two positive and negative fact that your actions have positive impacts on the other and also negative impacts on the other. It's both and here. Your actions really have a both and dynamic going on, with them being impactful both positively and negatively. That you can really impact people in a lot of those really strong ways. And you value mutual trust, mutual respect, where the two people in that relationship are supporting each other, taking care of each other, being responsible for each other's needs and also their own. So, supporting yourself while supporting the other. That's kind of that kind of reciprocity in relationships, where the giving and taking, the giving and receiving. That dance that you walk in relationships, because it is a dance, it is a tango to do. And how are you going to dance that tango with the other person? Because it really takes two to tango, doesn't it? It takes two. Remember that song in Into the Woods? It takes two. And I think that the message of that song is so important. Like, it takes two in relationship to be very very willing to be with each other and work with each other and work through with the issues with each other, and really help each other out in our own lives, with whatever we choose to do. So you can balance your responsibilities and your work and your routines with also taking care of yourself, taking care of your your body, your emotional health, your mental well-being, exercising, eating right, meditation, getting outside in nature, all these things, and not becoming a pure human doing, but becoming a human being, because we're not human doings. We're not always meant to do and produce and work really hard and do all these things really easily, very in a very difficult way. But we are meant to focus on just being, focus on just living here and now, and just being present for our lives, just being in the moment, just living in the now, and not overly focusing on what we need to do. So You want things done right also. Another thing is Capricorn risings really, really have a high authority when it comes to things that they're doing. And this can lead you to overpowering others and dominating at times if you're not careful. This this need to do everything and have everything be your way can lead to a lot of overpowering people and taking over the control. Like, it's my way, you listen to me. I want to take control. I want to do all this. You should listen to me. You should let me do it. I'm right. You should follow what I'm saying. You should, like, that is low. That is one of the Capricorn shadows, is that controlling shadow of wanting to dominate, of wanting to be the one in charge, thinking that you're the only one who can do it right. But it is about Cancer, nurturing, being emotionally kind, compassionate, caring, and receiving from others, as opposed to always having to be the one to give and provide and produce. So where does receptivity have to play a role in this? Now you either see things very, very positively, you see things in a very, very positive mindset with what you're doing and how you're achieving it and everything like that. And you can wait it out because you see things in a very, very positive, optimistic perspective, and you say, like, okay, this is going to take time, but I am willing, and I can see the result at the other end of this. I can see where this is going to go. I can see where this is going to be a positive for me if I'm willing to have the discipline and wait it out and stick it out. But I don't have to be all negative and overly cautious and afraid of taking calculated risks. Or the next right action plan, because it is about taking risks. It is about taking risks and doing what you need to do in that sense of the word, with taking risks and being willing to stretch yourself and being willing to go beyond and do all these things really, really effectively with with all you're doing, and instead you can be really, really pessimistic and not optimistic, seeing how things can turn out for the best or things can turn out for the better, so that you're stuck in the negative sides of things. And this is not very, very helpful to be so sucked down into. How can you understand the light and the dark side of your desire to work? Understanding to not fall into workaholism, but to work because you genuinely want to start, because you work because you have the dedication, you work because this is something that I want to achieve, this is something that I really, really care about, and that I want to work really, really hard for and achieve in my own personal life. This is something that I deeply desire, that that I want in my life, that I have the desire to work and achieve and do all this stuff, and I have the desire to really, really make this happen and really, really make this a reality for myself, with working so hard and putting in the discipline effort to achieve this, where you can have personal responsibility, taking responsibility for your own actions, taking accountability for your own actions, focusing on how you lead. Really, it's how you lead that's important. How you take command of the situation, how you take command of your life. Do you lead with integrity? Do you lead with allowing everybody else to be themselves? Do you lead with not wanting to control, not wanting to dominate, not wanting to overpower? Do you lead with focusing on with the greater good of the group? Do you lead with kindness and compassion and strength and bravery and courage and a role model? Or do you lead with dominance and domination and control and power over, and the superiority mentality, and this dictator type way of being, and focusing on the fears that hold you back. Really focusing on all these fears that hold you back from really evolving, that really expanding, becoming very, very emotionally sentimental and very, very kind, loving being to others. Where how you manage your time is really important. Also how you're managing your life schedule, your life's work, how you're managing, what you're doing in your life. Or are you just wasting your time sitting and watching TV shows and doing all this and just sitting around and not being responsible, not putting the work in and making it a reality? Or are you stepping up and taking action on your life and making it a true reality for yourself? Are you taking steps to take action right here and now to work that out for yourself in your life, and make the most of the time that you have on earth, because you have a very, very finite existence on earth, because our time on earth is deeply finite. We only have so much time on this great earth that we are so blessed to inhabit. And we must make the most of the time that we have, because we only get one life, and it is precious. I saw a clip that I shared to my Instagram stories from this young man that I follow. And he was talking about being intentional about that what you're doing in your day is something that's so important. To be intentional. Like I set the intention that I'm going to be feeling peaceful, feeling grounded. I set the intention that I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be, feel uplifted. I'm going to do what brings me joy today. Like setting positive intentions that can really make the most of your day, make the most of your time, so that you're making the most and finding the most joy and the light and love in whatever time that you are spending on this planet Earth. That with whatever you're doing, you're really making the most of your time on Earth, in your own life, by what you intend in your day, by what you intend to set in your day. And I think that taking your time to really enjoy the simple pleasures of life, taking time out instead of working to just enjoy family, nice food, all those simple pleasures, also, as well as working really hard and not lazing around or doing whatever, and making sure that whatever you're putting your life force energy to, you are devoting all of your life force energy into something that you highly prize, and something that you find really valuable to you, you find deeply important to you, you find really matters to you. And I think that is so incredibly important also. So managing your time, being mindful that you do have all the time in the world, but it is finite, and you cannot afford to waste time. So you show yourself as somebody disciplined, somebody serious and put together. You seem dedicated toward your goals. You seem like a reliable person. You seem like the person that others can count on, that others can rely on when it comes to achieving a goal in a certain way, in a certain very strong way, with being able to be very earthy and very practical with achieving that goal. And and in terms of your clothing, you want clothing that can be, because Ascendant also rules like what you wear, so clothing that can hold up and be very resilient, that can last for a long period of time, that can withstand wetness or dirt or whatever kind of things is really what you value, because Capricorn is resilience. Remember that Capricorn is the struggle. the long road, the long toil, but at the end you achieve something great because of the struggle, because it was worth achieving that thing, because of how much you had to work and struggle through it. It makes the results so much sweeter, so much better the more you struggle with it. That's why squares and oppositions in a natal birth chart are so important, because if we had all sextiles and trines, there wouldn't be that tension to really get us going and get us moving. And sometimes we need that discomfort and that hard push to get us going and get us changing and get us working and get us off of our butts and off of our behinds and start working, and start taking action, start moving in the right direction, and start really putting our effort into what we're doing. And Capricorn is about, like, if there's any difficult wound or any difficult thing that has come on your path to really hold you back from that, can you be deeply resilient towards that thing and show resilience and show strength with being able to withstand the challenges, and over time, through going through obstacles, you become a stronger, more wise person through that. And resilience is wisdom. Wisdom is sort of the result of you showing resilience, strength, in a sense. So that's what I want to say with that. And then you can balance your need to control the outside world with your inner emotions and thoughts, with how your inner emotions or thoughts affect you controlling the outside world. And if you're living from the inside out and outside in, I talk about this all the time. Living from the inside out does not mean allowing the external events and judgments and all these kind of things to get the better of your own inner peace, get the better of your own feeling of strength, of self-pride, of self-love, of feeling secure, feeling grounded, feeling willing to work really hard from a place of, I am in control of my life. I'm not allowing this to get better of me. I'm strong. I'm peaceful. I'm secure. I'm in my power. And not allowing the outside world, whatever goes on. This can be reacting to things going on, and not being the thermometer, or not the thermostat, with allowing whatever goes on to really affect you negatively, to react to whatever's going on around you, to be in a high emotional state with whatever's going on, to let the judgments and everything gets the better of you. Like, that's a very limiting and victim mentality way to live, and that's a very sad way to live. What if we can just dissolve the ego and anger and all this kind of thing, and focus on being grounded within ourselves, being grounded within ourselves, with what we say and what we do, that we are inside of our own power, inside of our own souls, inside of our own bodies, that we can come out from a place of security and control and power, and we can all strive to focus on focusing on nurturing ourselves when we feel drained, so that we are that we're responding. And it's so liberating, and it's so empowering to respond, and to emotionally regulate, and to not allow our emotions to get the better of us, to not become swayed because our good mood and our good feeling of safety, security, gratitude, peace is not swayed and not affected negatively by all that goes on inside of us. Like, I think if you were just so liberated to calm yourself down and to take a deep breath and to respond from a place of inner power, inner peace, to not be all reactive and not be all angry and moody and all these things. Like, it's just so freeing to live from the inside out. And I think that we should all strive to live in that kind of way. We're just a lot of war, a lot of anger, a lot of arguments, a lot of upset, a lot of frustration. Like, it would reduce a lot of things if we just learned to live like that. And for those who really get you, Capricorn, because you keep a lot of things guarded up, you keep a lot of things, a lot of boundaries, a lot of walls to what you do. The people that can really, really know you, they can see the inner, more real and vulnerable parts of who you are. They can see who you really are beyond the mask that you put on, beyond the, the image, the wall exterior, the proud person, with who you are in terms of just your how important you are, how significant you are in society, the role that you play in society. Like, people can get to know you for the real emotional, deep, really, really soulful, and really spiritually authentic parts of who you are. And everybody in life deserves to know you for those really, really emotional, very loving, very authentic parts of who you are. So that is what I want to say to Capricorn Risings, Capricorn Ascendant, in this episode of the Cosmic Scribe Podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this. I will be back tomorrow to discuss Mercury and Leo for the collective. We are entering Mercury into Leo for everybody. But for the collective, then I'll break down how Mercury and Leo impacts all 12 zodiac signs in the episode happening August 10th, which is my dad's birthday, so he's turning 61, so that'll be very, very exciting. I'll celebrate that with him. We're grilling outside, so it'll be very, very good. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with the collective reading for Mercury and Leo. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Ascendant Capricorn in the natal chart, and until next time, be happy, be well, and be authentic. Shine bright. I'm Everett Carty. This is the Cosmic Sky Podcast, as I said before. Signing off. Bye for now.